In the silent, pressurized dark of the first night, a new presence is beginning to stir, rising from the corners of the grave like a mist taking shape. This is not a visitor from the outside, nor is it one of the two interrogators who have just finished their task. This is the manifestation of deeds, the moment where the abstract choices of a lifetime coalesce into a physical reality that will share your narrow quarters until the end of time. In the world of the living, our actions are fleeting. A kind word is spoken and vanishes into the air. A selfish act is committed and buried under the noise of the day. We think of our character as something invisible, a collection of thoughts and habits hidden safely within the mind. But the tradition of the first night reveals a different truth. Here, in the isolation of the earth, the mask of the physical body is gone, and the energy of a life lived begins to solidify. It is as if the soul's history is a blueprint, and the grave is the workshop where that blueprint is finally constructed into a form you can see, touch, and smell. This companion is the mirror of the self. As the interrogation by the two visitors concludes, the soul becomes aware that it is no longer alone. From the darkness at the foot of the grave, a figure emerges. This manifestation is the literal embodiment of your legacy. If the life lived was one of integrity, prayer, and hidden acts of charity, the form that rises is one of breathtaking beauty. It is described as a youth with a radiant face, wearing garments that seem woven from light, exuding a fragrance that makes the cramped earthen chamber feel like a vast, blooming meadow. But if the life was defined by malice, deception, or the relentless pursuit of the ego, the manifestation is a horror. It is a creature of grotesque proportions, smelling of decay and clothed in rags that seem to burn with a cold, dark fire. This is the weight of a life. It is the realization that we do not just perform actions, we build the entity that will keep us company in the long silence. Imagine for a moment, in the stillness of your current surroundings, what shape your life would take if it stood before you right now. Would it be a comfort to look upon, or would you want to turn your eyes away? To understand this transformation, we must look at the dual timeline of the grave's first few hours. Let's follow two paths, side by side, as the clock ticks forward. On the first path, we find a soul who lived with a heart open to others. As the third hour of burial approaches, the narrow walls of the grave do not feel like a prison. Instead, they begin to glow with a soft amber hue. The scent of sandalwood and rain-washed earth fills the space. The companion who appears is not a stranger. There is a profound sense of recognition. This beautiful entity approaches the soul and speaks with a voice like silk, saying, "Donam, do not fear. I am your good deeds. I am the patience you showed when you were angry, the honesty you maintained when it was difficult, and the love you gave without expecting a return." In this timeline, the physical space of the grave expands. The darkness is replaced by a window into a higher garden, and the soul feels a sense of homecoming that surpasses any joy found under the sun. Now, consider the second path. Here, the soul lived a life of indifference or cruelty, treating others as rungs on a ladder and ignoring the whispers of conscience. As the hours pass, the grave feels as though it is shrinking. The air becomes heavy and stagnant, smelling of sulfur and stagnant water. The manifestation that rises here is jagged and terrifying. It does not speak with kindness. Its very presence is an accusation. It huddles in the corner, a physical weight that presses against the soul. This creature is the embodiment of every lie told, every hand withheld from a person in need, and every moment of arrogance. There is no escaping this roommate. In the small space of the grave, the grotesque form is a constant reminder that the secrets of the world are secrets no longer. Every shadow in the soul has been brought into the light of the first night. As the middle hours of the night arrive, a profound internal dialogue begins between the soul and its deeds. In the world above, we are experts at self-justification. We tell ourselves stories to make our bad behavior seem reasonable and our good behavior seem grander than it was. But in the grave, the internal dialogue is stripped of all delusion. There are no secrets left. The soul looks at its manifestation and sees the truth. The conversation is not always verbal. It is a telepathic exchange of essence. The soul of the righteous asks its companion, "Who are you? Whose face brings such peace?" And the answer is a reliving of every sincere moment of the past several decades. The soul sees the ripples of its own kindness, realizing that the small things it did, the anonymous donation, the comforting of a stranger, were actually the most significant things it ever accomplished. These deeds act as a shield, standing between the soul and the coldness of the earth. Conversely, the soul that faces a grotesque manifestation is forced into a dialogue of regret. It asks, "Who are you to haunt me so?" And the creature responds by reflecting the soul's own choices back at it. It is a relentless mirror. The soul tries to argue, to find excuses, but the manifestation is made of the soul's own substance. You cannot argue with your own shadow. This is the true meaning of the weight of a life. It is the psychological and spiritual burden of facing oneself without the distractions of work, entertainment, or social status. The long night becomes a theater where the only play being performed is the history of your own heart. As the night deepens, the role of these manifestations shifts from mere appearance to a source of either solace or torment. For the soul with the beautiful companion, the remaining hours until the dawn of the afterlife are characterized by a divine tranquility. The manifestation acts as a guardian. In the silence, it recites words of comfort, reminding the soul that the trials of the world are over and the reward is near. The flickering candle of worldly memory, the thoughts of family, property, and status, begins to fade, replaced by a much brighter, more enduring light. The soul can rest, cocooned in the beauty of its own character. For the other, the manifestation is a source of escalating distress. The creature does not leave. It grows more vivid as the night progresses. It represents the long night in its most literal sense. A period of time that feels stretched and infinite because it is filled with the presence of one's own failures. There is no sleep in the grave, and there is no distraction. There is only the soul, the earth, and the deeds. This is the long night's comfort, or its lack thereof. The manifestations provide the atmosphere of the grave, turning it into either a precursor to paradise or a preview of something much darker. The night is not yet over. While the soul grapples with the manifestation of its legacy, the physical world is also claiming its due. The spirit and its deeds have begun their long vigil, but the body, the vessel that carried those deeds, is starting a different journey. The warmth of life is gone, and the laws of biology and geology are beginning to assert their authority over the form left behind in the shroud. As we look toward the next phase of the first night, we must turn our eyes from the metaphysical back to the material. The soul has met its deeds, but the earth is now preparing its own embrace. In the next chapter, we will examine the biological realities of the first night, the cooling of the blood, the awakening of the microbiome, and the silent, relentless pressure of the soil. As the body begins its slow return to the elements from which it was formed. The spiritual interrogation is complete, but the physical transformation is only just beginning.